Now I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Chuck Hassebrook.
Well, thanks, Andy. I appreciate that. And I want to say a deep thank you to all my friends and neighbors who came out on this cold day to be here with me. And it means a lot to me, and I truly appreciate it. I also would like to introduce my family. First of all, the love of my life, Kate. She's almost surely the only woman that would have me. And you know, this is typical of how I romance her on Valentine's Day. Our son Peter's here with us. We're very proud of our son Peter. Our son Anton is at the university in Lincoln. He couldn't be here today. He has a review session for an important test today, so we decided that was more important. He's really excited about this campaign. When the first attacks started coming out against me over the weekend after my name got out there, Anton called all excited and said, "I have no idea how fun this year is going to be." And, you know, I'm proud to have Andy Fusen introduce me because as our mayor, he's contributed countless hours for little in return. And Andy represents what's good about Nebraska and what's critical in democracy. It's responsible citizens who recognize that we all have an obligation to give something back. We must never forget that each of us is part of a larger community, a larger nation, and a world in which we have a stake and to which we have obligations. Because if our community is in decline, if our nation is weakening, even as we prosper, then we too suffer the consequences. We all lose when a generation of kids gives up on their future. And we all lose when a community is dying and our neighbors leave. So we must never forget that though we must each strive for our own personal success, our true interest extends beyond our self-interest. Our true interest is tied to community. Our true interest is tied to the common good. I'm running for the United States Senate because Washington is not working, neither party is working for the common good. Washington is working fine for the rich and powerful special interest. And Washington is working hard to win the next election. But it's not working to create a better future here in Lyons and rural Nebraska. It's not working to create a better future in Lincoln or Omaha. And it's not working to create a stronger America, a more perfect union, in the words of our Constitution. Let me give you an example. A 2007 study by the organization I work for, Center for Rural Affairs, found that the U.S. Department of Agriculture spent six times as much to subsidize just the 20 biggest farms in Nebraska as it invested in rural development programs to create economic opportunity for 65,000 rural Nebraskans in the counties suffering the worst population decline. That's wrong, and we must do better. We must make government work because there are some jobs that cannot be done well without coming together. We must make government work for ordinary Nebraska families. And we must make government work to create a better future for our children and grandchildren. This has been my life's calling. Over 35 years at the Center for Rural Affairs and over nearly 18 years on the Board of Regents, I have fought to create genuine opportunity to ordinary families, to give them a shot at a higher education, strengthen communities, and to protect our land and water. I'm running for the United States Senate because it's time for me to step it up a notch, to fight not for government that subsidizes the rich and powerful, but for government that invests in our future, in growing small businesses and new farms and ranches, and preparing our children to start school ready to learn, and in making college affordable to all who take the necessary steps to succeed. I'm running so I can fight not for government that bails out banks too big to fail, but for government that enforces the antitrust laws, because any bank and any firm that's too big to fail is too big, period. I'm running so I can fight not for government that protects the tax cuts of the rich, but for government that protects the retirement security of hardworking families that rely on Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare. If you select me to serve, I pledge to put strengthening America ahead of strengthening my party or my bank account. I will avoid all personal financial entanglements, joint investments, and joint property ownership, and sweetheart deals with lobbyists and special interests. I will release my tax returns, as I'm doing today, to provide full transparency. They will show that I'm simply a middle-class citizen like most Nebraskans, and I challenge the other candidates in this race to do the same thing. I'm also borrowing some good ideas from Republican State Senator and U.S. Senate candidate Deb Fisher. I support her proposal to tighten ethics and lobbying rules by prohibiting members and staff of Congress from trading stock based on inside information, by making members of Congress subject to the same laws that apply to every other citizen, and by putting a lifetime ban on members of Congress becoming lobbyists, federal lobbyists, or having their family members lobby. I truly believe that if we focused on what's best for America, rather than what's best for our party, that we will find critical areas of agreement on how to make our nation a more perfect union. Building a better America is my life's calling. It stems from my faith. In America, we must never use government to impose our faith on others. But that should never stop us from calling on our own faith as individuals to define the moral principles of our politics. My Christian faith has taught me that we have a responsibility to our neighbors, to love our neighbor as ourselves, whether they live next door or in the next state. And my Christian faith compels me to fulfill my responsibility to help create a just society that diminishes none among us. That was the message of the Old Testament prophet Micah. Micah lived at a time of great wealth and inequality in Israel, much like America today. Micah railed against those among the powerful who exploited the poor and the vulnerable. And then he said, simply but profoundly, God has showed you what is good, to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. I pray that Micah's eloquent wisdom may be my moral guide as I undertake this quest. Thank you.